Those who know me understand detective work was never about thrill or violence for me. It was always about uncovering the truth behind lies, about finding the quiet voice of reality in the deafening noise of deception. It was on one such dreary November morning, thick with London fog, that Harold Whitby, my longtime friend, and a respected journalist walked into my office, damp from the mist, trench coat half open, eyes sharp. He didn't sit down. He walked straight to the window, then turned and said, "Edgar, something's going to happen at Mistwood Manor this weekend. Duchess Rosalind is hosting a gathering her inner circle. Very private. I'll be there under journalistic pretenses, but I want you with me. I've got a gut feeling someone's going to die." Harold's instincts were rarely wrong, so I packed a single suitcase, grabbed my notebook, and boarded the evening train to Wexford. Mistwood Manor stood hidden amidst thick woodlands, nestled among the hills north of Wexford. Built in the late 1800s, it earned its name from the ever-present fog that cloaked its grounds like a secret. The manor loomed like a storybook castle. Ivy-draped stone walls, gargoyles on the edges, its tall windows glowing in amber light as we arrived. Servants lined the entry hall, and there she stood, Duchess Rosalind Hargreaves Regal, even in her twilight years. Silver hair in a tight bun, an emerald brooch glinting at her throat, eyes that could cut glass. The guest list was intimate but intriguing. Lord Frederick Bannister, a retired diplomat, composed, silver-templed, out, but with a suspicious stiffness to his politeness. Sylvia Hartley, Rosalind's niece, beautiful, impatient, sharp-tongued. Arthur Hartley, Sylvia's husband, a collector of art, quiet, observant, and unusually detached. Dr. Emmett Lowell, the family physician, overly cordial, but hiding something behind his smile. Cecilia Dane, Rosalind's former maid, now her ward, shy, emotionally fragile. Conrad Varga, an enigmatic Hungarian antique dealer, involved in the sale of Rosalind's London properties. That first evening, wine flowed, conversations danced around politics and old scandals. But tension lingered beneath the surface, fleeting glances, unsaid words. Sylvia flinched when Lord Bannister entered a room. Cecilia clung to every word from Dr. Lowell. Arthur barely spoke but seemed to watch everyone at once. Then came the morning after. The household awoke to an absence. The Duchess had not come down for breakfast. After a short search, a maid screamed. We found her in the northern wing study, lying on the Persian rug, eyes open, mouth ajar, dead. Clutched in her hand was a partially burned letter, and on the desk, a toppled inkwell had spilled, forming what looked eerily like the shape of clock hands pointing to 9:15. "That's not just ink," Harold whispered, standing beside me. "It's a clue." Lieutenant Grace Hall arrived by midday. She was competent. Combat lacked the eye for the strange, the subtle. While she organized formal interviews, I began my own unofficial inquiries. Sylvia Hartley. She was strict, but never cruel. I loved her, my own way. Last night I went to bed early. Arthur and we had a disagreement. It wasn't about money. Her hands trembled despite her poised voice. I sensed guilt, but not necessarily over murder. Your Arthur Hartley Rosalind asked me to appraise some paintings last week. That's all. I had no reason to hurt her. But his voice was too flat, too careful. He was rehearsed. And rehearsed people are rarely innocent. Lord Bannister Rosalind told me I was being excluded from her final will. She said, "You have memories, not money." I wasn't angry. We were friends for 40 years. He was calm, but visibly annoyed when Cecilia entered the room. Old men don't usually hide disdain so well. Dr. Emmett Lowell. It might have been a heart attack. Her health was failing. She refused her medication last week. He was lying. There were bruises on her wrists, signs of a struggle. Lowell was either careless or complicit. Cecilia Dane, she was going to tell me something last night. Said it was important. But she never got the chance. Her voice cracked. Was it grief or fear? Conrad Varga, I was walking outside. I like the fog. Clears my mind. That alibi was impossible to verify, and he knew it.
Ow.
Clues, lies, and the final truth the clock. The ink, 9:15. That wasn't the time of death. It was something else. A warning. A reference. Earlier that morning, Cecilia had told Harold her bedroom clock had broken, stuck at 9:15, which meant someone had tried to point suspicion her way. Then there was the burned letter. What little remained said, final bequest Cecilia must never know. A new will, a secret, a motive. Digging into the Duchess's personal files, discovered a hastily prepared codicil. She was leaving everything not to Sylvia, nor to Bannister, but to Cecilia. Why? A deeper look into house records revealed the truth. Cecilia was Rosalind's illegitimate daughter, born of an affair with a stable hand when she was just 19. The secret had been buried under decades of silence and shame. And who had the most to lose? Arthur Hartley. If Cecilia inherited the estate, Sylvia would receive nothing. Arthur, who had invested heavily based on the promise of Sylvia's inheritance, would be ruined. He confronted Rosalind the night before. She refused to reverse her will. In the ensuing argument, he pushed her. She fell, hit her head. He panicked, tried to make it look like a natural death. Burned the letter, but left enough for confusion. And he tried to frame Cecilia by referencing her broken clock, but he hadn't counted on the Duchess's last move. In her dying moment, she tipped over the inkwell. She'd always loved riddles and left one final puzzle for someone like me to solve. Arthur was arrested. Sylvia collapsed in tears, though whether for grief or relief, I couldn't say. Cecilia, shaken, was finally told the truth about her mother. She did not cry. She only whispered, so that's why she never let me call her mother. As Harold and I stood by the gates of Mistwood Manor, ready to leave, the fog parted briefly. Harold lit a cigarette and asked, "You ever think we'll run out of mysteries, Edgar?" Shook my head. As long as there are people, there'll be secrets. Where there are secrets, someone will try to kill to keep them. We stepped into the mist. The truth once again followed in silence.